Alright guys, it looks like we will be coming soon to an end. We are in our finals match. This is a best of 3. So this is just the very first game, Shirokky versus Bennett. And I do believe I might have to look back at our records. I don't think Bennett has ever made it to the finals here, but I know he's a really good player and performed really well in other tournaments as well. But yeah, I just think for in our tournament specifically, not yet in the finals, but here he is. It is his debut. And you have like a Shirokky's a mad lad.
I mean, if you're good at something, you're definitely gonna stay that way. Absolutely. You know, taking a break. Sometimes, if the break is there's a certain amount of time, right? And I don't think Shirokky took a long enough break to really, you know, get some rust kicking in. In fact, it just gave him a new perspective in the game, as you mentioned. Bringing back again, I can't stress this enough. I love the Zenith mix openings. Of course, we'll not see it this time. We'll choose to go Calamus 2 Vine instead. But yeah, I mean, Zenith mix used to be my favorite opening to watch because 2 Tems would just die instantly, and then the game would start from there. It would start with 4 Tems. But of course, times have changed. Technically, Volerand isn't here. You know, anaerobic Volerand isn't here. So times have reverted back to before people thought anaerobic Volerand was useful at all. So yeah.
Yeah, and I remember seeing it on the Discord. The aerobic ones would sell for like 25, 30k, and then the anaerobics were somewhere in like the 10ks. No one thought anything of anaerobic, but definitely changed things up.
Yeah, everything changed when the tank meta attacked, and then everyone was like, "Oh my god, this thing is a monster as a tank," and everyone was like, "Yeah." I mean, both sides of the tree is very strong. So again, that's why we saw the fall off of this dynamic duo really. Because if they can't kill anything in the first turn, then there's really no point of opening like that. The point is to trade, and if you can't trade, then there's no purpose of it. Banned Mix as well. Mix is just solid in general. Shirokky, if he wants a Crystal Spiker, will have to pick up Zenith, the weaker of the two in terms of longevity. Ice Red opening with a Mix and a Grandpa as well. We'll have to be careful when it comes to Toxic Ink on top of Plume.
Yeah, we have seen that combo before, and I think it was just enough, followed by the poison ticks to take care of the mix. So yeah, definitely indeed has to be careful. But Shirokky deciding on his final ban, kind of eyeing the Wimpum, and does decide to go with the Wimpum. So now just trying to finish up his team. Last 3 Temtems. I think Zenith is definitely coming in, but doesn't want to reveal it yet in case he doesn't pick the Volerand. But Bennett will have the last pick, so even if the Zenith is picked up, he could decide at the very end to pick it up. But Volerand is a solid Temtem in general. I mean, Calamus and Wimpum might be doing a good amount to him, but just has to play it carefully.
Picks up an Okama and a Wimpum. Volerand is chosen. Sort of tells Shirokky, sort of warns Shirokky about picking up the Zenith, but decides, nah, I don't care. Picks up Zenith instead on top of Grandpa.
Yeah, I mean, he has the Calamus and Wimpum, so he already had his answers for Volerand. But yeah, Volerand was just the best pick for Bennett. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to get things started in our finals match. Game 1, Shirokky, previous champ. Bennett, aka Ice Red, trying to come through and be potentially crowned for his first win here. Who is going to take it? Will it be, guys? Hit me in chat. Who are you guys voting for? We got Shirokky fans. Do we got Bennett fans? Either way, these players are both amazing, going all the way to the finals. And let's see, Blue, if they decide to start the play, we could be seeing the good old Toxic Ink and CPG, Crystal Plume Gatling into the mix. But the Grandpa's here and applies a lot of pressure to the Calamus.
I mean, at the moment, still has the Crystal Plume. I mean, Crystal Plume Gatling and Toxic Ink on the mix would be solid. Again, a Strangle potential, but Caliber swap out. Yeah, doesn't want to risk any wind type damage. So
yeah, keeping the Caliber safe. Maybe trying to set up for, you know, maybe he's still Crystal Plume Gatling the mix and then Tsunami next turn. At least the only reason I could do so. Yeah, not caring about bringing Puppet Master here. He brought the Wimplump. Now it's a 1-turn hold. Is activated. Tsunami's ready to go. So yeah, good thinking ahead. And yeah, didn't eat too much damage. I mean, it did eat 50% damage, but it would have taken a little bit more into the Calibus. Or let's look at the back. Who did he need Calibus for? Okay, so saving the Calibus for the Yukama. Saving the Calibus for the Volcran. So yeah, pretty good prioritization there. But Wimplump also a good answer to the Volcran. The problem here, Blue, Grandpa is probably faster with the TVs people are running these days. Grandpa still has a Hypnosis available right now in this turn 2. And it's most likely going to be sleeping the Wimplump to protect the mix. That's if the mix wants to stay on the board, of course.
Yeah, as you mentioned, maybe putting the Wimplump to sleep may be fine, but Wimplump's base speed is really fast, so we'll have to see. Grandpa is potentially max speed, but I'm not sure if how much speed TVs you actually need to outspeed that as a Wimplump, but still, we'll see. Tsunami again, probably a big threat here versus a Wimplump as a mix at this low HP, and yeah, Hypnosis does go first. So Wimplump will be unable to play Tsunami unless Big Brain Peck happens here or otherwise. But no, none of the like will happen. Energy Manipulation will go down onto Yikin.
Yeah, just doing that play so it costs a little bit more stamina. But Grandpa still doesn't have a clean attack here in both of these wind temps, so it could be a little bit of a setup turn. Maybe Mix is going to be leaving for the Gazuma. Turbo Choreography could potentially be the play. He knows he doesn't have to worry about Wimplump for this turn. And yeah, Tuvine, thanks to that the exhaustion from the energy manipulation, can't afford to do any move. Any move that he has right now, maybe except for Peck, is the only thing he can do, but of course Peck is no value here. So yeah, I think it's a very safe play for Bennett just to get the good setup for the potential Hyperkinetic Strike down the road.
Calibus comes back out here for the side of Shirokky, and Tuvine swap out as well. Brings back in the Zenarith. We'll see how he wants to play this. Windburst connects on the Zenarith. Zenarith will eat that just fine. Sea Spikes as well. Gonna do its damage worth, and Zenarith already dropped below 40%. Especially this early is a bit dangerous.
Yeah, trying to take out the Tuvine, and yeah, the Tuvine at that HP probably would have gone down. Actually, it would have been close. Windburst wouldn't have done half damage, and the Crystal Spike, yeah, actually wouldn't have gone down. But I think this setup, Shirokky was calling the Gazuma play. It looked like such an easy setup turn that Shirokky brought out the Zenarith to try to deal with the Gazuma. But yeah, we've been seeing these plays from Bennett. When you think he's going to do something, he just straight up doesn't do it, leaves the Temtems in. And I actually did not see how much damage the Crystal Spike did from the mix. But you know, Grandpa's here. Hyperkinetic Strike has not come out yet. So Hypo followed by a Crystal Spike. If the Hyperkinetic Strike does not kill it, it will, I mean, obviously it will be going before the Zenarith. But this one's tough. This one's tough. Depending on the speed, Crystal Spike could take out the Grandpa as well.
Ice Red has the advantage in terms of being able to position himself in a good spot. Grandpa, of course, still has to be careful. The Calibus surely will not go down instantaneously, and Crystal Spikes is still a big player.
Yeah, this is quite the important turn. So Hyperkinetic Strike, where does it want to go? Into the Zenith? Is it 40%? No, it's not. Is Crystal Spike faster? I was thinking on the mix, but decides to go for the Grandpa, but Grandpa is gonna live, and I think the simple energy manipulation should be enough. And preserving a lot of health there, so didn't have to overexert too much.
Toxic Ink as well will secure that kill on the Grandpa.
Yeah, you usually don't see it. A Calibus taking down, you know, his arch nemesis Grandpa, because Grandpa could clean up that Calibus, but yeah, no attacks directed onto the Calibus. And took down possibly the biggest threat. We'll look at the back line if there's more threats to the Calibus. But Bennett did a good job at taking care of the Zenith. Zenith just hits so hard, you always want to take care of him first.
We'll see what they decide to swap in. This is where the mind games come in. If you get the right swap in first, suddenly you are in a good situation. Swaps in the 2-Vine here, and the Okama comes in for the side of Ice Red. So Tsunami still potentially could kill Mix. Is that stamina on 2-Vine bugged, or am I crazy?
The which one?
The stamina on 2-Vine.
Yeah, it might. I mean, he was really low on stamina, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's that low, but I think he would have healed up a little bit more. It's probably only been one turn though, 1 or 2 turns. Has to be at least somewhere a little under the 40-50%. 2-Vine leaves, doesn't want to eat up that aquatic whirlwind or water cannon. Actually, if it was Yukama's first time, it's probably just a water cannon. But Mix fearing the Tsunami, gonna be coming out for the Gazuma.
This is the perfect spot for the Gazuma. This Wimplump is being battered and bruised and being prepared for a shock of its life. Tsunami's gonna trade in though. Half damage onto the Wimplump and barely any damage to the Gazuma.
And yeah, this is gonna be tough. So depending on these speeds, I know Gazuma's not the fastest, but you know, if you don't invest any speed TVs on Wimplump either, it's not too fast. So I mean, if Shirokky believes in his Wimplump speed, you could get off a Cold Breeze to keep that Gazuma at bay for this turn and the next turn. However, if Gazuma goes off first, Wimplump is going to disappear. Calibus is going to be taking a big hit. And we have seen it from Bennett. He does not run any small, right? I think his only offensive electric pressure is that Storm. So thinking carefully, still an important turn. Calibus is still here pressuring the interesting. Okay, so yeah, guaranteed an electrical storm the following turn. Let's see if Shirokky anticipated this going on the offense. Yeah, so Cold Breeze, no electric storm while the cage is here. So really good play. And man, maybe he had a cage though. Maybe the Cold Breeze would have gone off first. Either way. But now, yeah, Bennett doing a fantastic job. If Gazuma was slower, it is indeed faster now with the +2 speed. But kind of trapped in his Yukama now. Yukama's going to be going down either to a Tornado or the Toxic Ink. But Calibus would overexert for that Toxic Ink, but not by much. So it might be worth... And just Sharp Brain the Gazuma potentially. Might be the best line to play right now.
Yeah, the Wimplump has enough stamina to Sharp Brain, and of course, Aquatic Whirlwind probably won't kill Wimplump. It should be fine. Trying to take out the Okama would also be solid here. Of course, get rid of that water type, but there's not really a major problem of water types for the side of Shirokky, so may just ignore that completely. Blizzard comes out, will try to kill the Okama. with the Blizzard, secures that kill, and Toxic Ink will go into the Gazuma, just apply some poison damage, and we could potentially see a short rain after, but that's only if the Gazuma is fast enough.
Yeah, the Gazuma is definitely gonna be faster. However, you know, Cage has been a turn, so Cage is now active again. But is it worth? Calib is overexerted. Wimplump is still here, as we mentioned. You know, Tsunami, Sharp Rain has not been used in the previous turns. I don't think Cage is worth though. I don't think it's worth to trap in these Tems here. But it could be. I mean, one Electric Storm could be doing a good amount. Obviously, Wimplump will go down, but Wimplump's job might have been done once he gets rid of the mix with this Tsunami. Yeah, this one's a pretty tough play. I don't think a Cage is worth here, right? I don't see it being the best line of play.
We'll force a Calibus
There
in.
we go.
Yeah, Electric Storm comes out. It's actually faster than the Wimplump or the Calibus, so Wimplump is eliminated. Calibus will be fine. It has enough enough HP to survive that, but CS Spike's gonna perhaps change that with a bit more chunk. Survives at %. And we'll have enough stamina to Toxic Ink one more time, but the question is if it's gonna be fast enough to do that anyway. Right now, Shirokky still has back pocket 2-line, will come back in, and that Gazuma is no longer safe.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see what he has to switch out. Oh, the best thing to counter that 2-line is going to be the Volerand, so pretty easy switch there. Pretty safe switch, and yeah, Calibus is going to be as good as done. It could go another Crystal Spike. It would have to be eaten up by the Grandpa, but man, Bennett doing a fantastic job setting up that Gazuma and realizing when to pull the trigger on that Electric Storm.
Energy manipulation, costing less stamina, will take out the Calibus. Crystal Plume Gatling as well, gonna do some damage, but look at that quarter damage! The Volerand just ate those bullets and spit them back out!
Yeah, that's the thing with Volerand. Such a true counter to Crystal, probably the best counter to any Crystal Tem. Gonna be eating any attack, any Crystal attack for days. And now Shirokky standing with the last 2 Tems. And yeah, from that very first turn, I think he thought he could get a Tsunami off on the Mix, but Mix has just been chilling here, just 25%. That's what it did. Crystal Plume Gatling, that's how much it did. But Mix has just been doing so much work. And now this is terrible. Grandpa has to be the carry here. Of course, some Feather Gatlings here and there. But yeah, everything has to be directed on the Volerand. And he still has the Gazuma in the back whenever he wants to bring it out and deal with this Grandpa.
Wind Burst applies on the Volerand. Embers on the Grandpa, not on the 2-line. Surprise. Thought that the Embers would go before the Volerand. And Feather Gatling as well, gonna do some decent damage, and is just trying to pick off the Grandpa just to remove that attacker. But now Volerand is at a half HP. Hyperkinetic Strike is a real threat, and Feather Gatling was faster than Embers, or rather slower than Embers, so potentially may just punish the 2-line either way.
Yeah, he's focusing down the Grandpa because 2-line applies very little pressure to the Volerand. But yeah, Shirokky, I think with 1 Hyperkinetic Strike should be enough to do the remaining 45% of the Volerand. I'm almost sure of it. Let's take a look at the speed.
Oh, Hyperkinetic, trying to kill off the Volerand. And that is so big because now Crystal Spikes will trade in kind. The Grandpa is going to leave on the Volerand. I'm not sure what it decides to do, but it looks like Mix overexerts to 2.5%. Embers comes out before the Grandpa gets to do anything, but Crystal Plume Gatling does come out. Bra bra bra. Will secure. Why is it a Crystal Plume Gatling? The Volerand survived at 1.7% HP. What a disaster. Shirokky thought there was going to be a swap over the Gazuma, the bait and switch, but now he is screwed.
No, yeah, there was no need to switch. Volerand
Moment, he could have definitely made that a closer fight if he had just landed another Feather Gatling, taken out the Volerand, and then Gazuma would follow suit. But in a situation like that, he thought the swap out would happen, but did not. And again, he thought about it.
So let's see if we get the similar picks and bans from the previous game. Or does Shirokky want to ban out the mix instead, potentially the Volerand, but that just leaves available for the Velash to clean things up. So I think he wants to take care of the Velash first, and yes he does. His team is definitely pretty weak to Crystal Spikers, so yeah, prioritizing the Velash first. And now Shirokky's starting things off with the Zenrith.
Shirokky with that Zenrith opening, of course, cannot be paired with the mix. Mix was removed, effective immediately.
Alright, so both Crystal Spikers, these guys do love to spike. We love to see it. But Bennett thinking Volerand, but it might be an easy counter with a pickup like a Yukama. So might not be the most ideal, but of course you could pick Volerand, and then you could go ahead and switch out for something in the back line that could take up that damage. Potentially something like a Wimplump. And plays it somewhere in the middle between those is gonna be the Grandpa, so really good pick.
Except the mix well.
Yeah, Yukama seems like a solid pick. I think Shirokky's thinking about it. I mean, Tuvine also a really solid pick. Probably trying to double into the Grandpa. Because I don't think there's a moves. On the starting set, I don't think there's a set of moves that can take down the mix. I think either a Crystal Spike or a Crystal Plume will be going deep into Puppet Master range. So I'm thinking with this start, we might be focusing up on Grandpa. But of course, that might be the straightforward play. I mean, these guys might be thinking something else.
Calvis is banned out. Looks like Ice Red did not want to face that in the next game. And yeah, sticking with the same opening. Now Shirokky does not have access to that Calvis, so Volerand is banned, so doesn't have to worry about that. But now, interesting. Ice Red picks up the Wimplump Kazuma.
Yeah, definitely a much better pick than the Barnchi in the eyes of the Zenrith and Tuvine. So yeah, Wimplump being a really good pick there, or rather the better pick. And yeah, Shirokky now with the decision, Yukama and Barnchi. Yukama not being too strong against the Tems, like a good amount of them is probably just strong against the Grandpa. But yeah, Barnchi not gonna be doing a whole lot. But here we go. Is Bennett gonna come through with a little bit of a clean sweep on Shirokky, or Shirokky not gonna let things go that easy, saying, hey, I'm coming back with some vengeance, trying to take you down. Here I go. Shirokky versus Bennett. Let's see if things are able to swing around, or has Bennett been too much of that dominant force here in this tournament number 11?
We could potentially see a double up onto that mix again. This time, change the future, or change the past at least. Yikin takes a bit of damage, but Crystal Plume Gatling comes out, tries to go into the Grandpa. Actually, Madness buffs on the Zenrith. It's been a while since we've seen one, and we'll try and set that up. But remember, Zenrith can't heal itself, so that damage is permanent. Kinu is not here to save you, buddy, so you're gonna have to make your own stamina count. And bear in mind, Zenrith at base stamina can only, or not even at base stamina, I believe at slight stamina TVs can only spike twice at full stamina. So we'll see.
Yeah, so saying that, I mean, a Madness buff, Zenrith is easily gonna one-shot Grandpa. I dare say it one-shots the mix too. So yeah, you don't need the good old 1-2 if it just goes with the good old 1, period. So let's see, either of these Tems are in the danger zone. Let's see what he decided to target. Hypnosis coming out first. You can't spike. Wait a minute, that is so fast. Crystal Spike being a 3 prio.
Oh, the grandpa being so quick there, faster than the Zenith. I'm not sure. Was the Zenith trying to ban his buff twice?
No, that would be too insane at this point in the match. I think he indeed tried a Crystal Spike, but it might be like a 0 speed investment Zenith. And yeah, just Grandpa at max speed TVs with the 2 Prio Hypnosis, outspeeding the 3 Prio. So even at a 1.5 or a 0.5 more speed from the moves, it wasn't enough.
I'm checking the speed tiers right now just to confirm that suspicion, because I wouldn't doubt it. Zenith is quite the slow behemoth. So a 2 priority, Grandpa's at 145, and Zenith at base at 3. No, the Zenith would have... No, you're absolutely right. The Zenith would have been slower. Nope.
Well, I mean, it was slower, so it was slower. We just want to know why it was slower, right? So it was indeed slower.
It was because it was a base Zenith versus a max speed Grandpa, which means that Grandpa was faster, and now is even faster. The Zenith will not have a chance to use anything. Actually woken up by Cold Breeze, says, "Wake up, you big lug! Attack!" And Wimplump will take that in the face.
And maybe that's why he has him so slow, so the Wimplump can go first just in case he's Hypnosis. But now this might backfire. Wimplump plus 2 speed. He gave him 2 ticks of freeze. 1 more tick of freeze will be shutting him down. And if Wimplump, if Grandpa outsped with a without any speed invested here with these buffs, I do think Wimplump will outspeed with the Cold Breeze as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Even without, as I mentioned, even without the speed TVs. I mean, it was a smart play from Shirokky. He knew that the Wimplump would not be doing as much damage to the Zenith. Just slapped this Zenith in the face. Just said, "Wake up! Use your move," and he did. But now we'll have to be careful. Does not want to be frozen in place. Probably potentially will swap out here for maybe the mix. Or no, sorry, his mix was banned. Regardless, a swap out has to happen, and it does go into the Ukama for the potential swap out Hypnosis. Instead, goes on the Wimplump actually, and we might see a double attempt to shut down, and it does happen. Cold Breeze. This is scary now, because
and that does mean Shirokky's Wimplump is quite naturally fast too to get off the Cold Breeze before the 3 prior Crystal Spike too. But yeah, it's just indeed probably just 0 speed TVs invested. But either way, Cold Breeze onto the Ukama, giving it those ticks of freeze. So Wimplump could be doing it one more time, keeping the Ukama at bay. But Ukama's pretty good here. He might just be able to get off 1 turbo with that 4 prio move, or high prio move, with the wind synergy.
He kind of has to he has turbo at this point. If he does not turbo, he will be left behind in the dust in terms of speed. And Ice Red, the Wimplump on Shirokky's side is asleep, means that Ice Red might just max out double turbo. As again, Shirokky cannot really afford to be lagging behind. He either kills something here, or he tries to catch up in terms of speed. Because right now you can see the bolstering of speed. Now 4 speed on both Grandpa and Wimplump, and turbo 2 match for the side of Shirokky.
It always feels bad whenever it happens to you. You're trying your hardest to try to catch up in speed, but then your opponent goes ahead and turbos one more time. So yeah, another plus 2 speed for both of these Tems, and they're so good. Exactly why we're seeing it here with the Cold Breezes, keeping these Tems at bay. And now +4/+4, Grandpa is going to be hitting so strong with his hyperkinetic strike. And might be going into the Ukama. I mean, any Tem Shirokky switches in, I mean, he does have Grandpa and 2 Vine to try to eat it, but still going to be doing decent damage to those Tems. Could be the Zenith with the +2 special defense, but you probably want to save that, because that's probably your only way of coming back into this game for sure. And it was the Grandpa trying to predict the hyperkinetic in that slap, but instead brought out the Gazuma instead of hyperkinetic, so keeping it in the back line for now. And guys, do I smell a cage incoming?
Ooh, Tsunami connects as well on the side of Shirokky, not backing down. And if you notice, neither player has lost a Tem yet, but quite close to the Wimplump as well. And the setup is important. Gazuma being out means Electric Storm will pop something if Shirokky is not careful. He cannot really get away with a free turbo choreograph here, most likely.
Yeah, I mean, Gazuma had none of the turbo choreography, so is indeed slower than the Wimplump. So yeah, one Cold Breeze should be enough. However, Bennett's Wimplump is faster, so Cold Breeze on that Wimplump, or you know, on Shirokky's Wimplump, keeps it from Cold Breeze and Gazuma. And yeah, but if you're going on the Cold Breeze, you're kind of leaving it susceptible of both of these Tems getting hit by that Electric Storm. And Wimplump easily goes out with that 4x damage, and Grandpa is going to be taking so much. So yeah, Cold Breeze on Wimplump, no freeze on Gazuma. And he kept these in. Oh, you know what it was? He thought the Hyperkinetic will outspeed the Cold Breeze, but +4 speed a little bit too much. Electric Storm, yeah, way too much damage.
Oof. Just so much damage coming the way. Wimplump will be traded. I mean, both Wimplumps got traded away. Gazuma quite happy with that damage output. Remember, the Grandpa can't do much against it, and I'm not sure how Shirokky's gonna deal with that. Gazuma, perhaps the 2-Vine, most likely his best opportunity. And still has the Zenith as well, but here comes the hyper speed Grandpa. And the Zenith comes back out, but the odds of you putting this Grandpa to sleep are very high, and that is the problem.
Yeah, I think this was a fantastic prediction for Bennett. You know, the Zenith was most likely coming out to deal with the Gazuma, but man, you can't do anything when you're sleeping. So Grandpa at +4 speed will most likely be sleeping the Zenith here. And let's take a look. Okay, so yeah, Lachan, which was the Grandpa for Shirokky, no speed buffs on his side, so that's exactly why the Wimplump went first, even though the 3 prio Hyperkinetic Strike was pulled off for Shirokky. But yeah, a little bit, not a miscalculation, but just trying to go with the best play he could. And I'm pretty sure Hypnosis is active for this Grandpa. And you know, since the Gazuma is not running anything as a single hitting electric move, we could just be getting a spark on the Grandpa. Or on itself on the Grandpa.
And most likely probably on the Grandpa. It depends, right? If
or another turbo, right? A turbo is probably a good play there if you're able to. Okay, trying to go on the offense.
Yeah, Hyperkinetic Strike on the Zenith. I'm not sure if he thought that would do enough damage. Turbo Choreograph actually slower than the Hyperkinetic Strike, which means that it's not buffed up. But you saw already how much damage it did to the Zenith. Luckily, Madness buff making sure the high special defense of the Zenith just gets even bolstered even more. Crystal Spike's gonna connect and secure the kill on the Grandpa. Hypnosis was a bit wasted, but regardless, secures that kill. And Zenith showcasing its brute force. Channeler on top of Madness buff is not a joke.
Yeah, and if this was a Velas, the scavenger buff would have proc, but Zenith, you know, you exchange that longevity for the brute power. And yeah, the brute power coming in pretty clutch here. However, though, it had to be Hypnosis with offline. That was just too easy of a play to Hypno at that speed. So yeah, Hypnosis was not active for the Grandpa, so just trying to go with the second best thing, trying to take it out. But that Madness buff turn 1 paying a lot of dividends with that +2 special defense. And now both of these Tems on Bennett's board will be going down. I think one Crystal Spike takes both of these Tems down. But you have to be careful where the Volcrane's coming in, right? I still think he has a Volcrane in the back.
No, there is no Volcrane from the side of Ice Red here. Electric Storm gonna come out, try and pick off the Zenith, but look at that tickle. It does no damage. Gazuma is gonna overexert for that. CS Spikes to secure the mix kill. One shot and it is gone. The CS Spikes Channeler Madness buff Zenith showing why it is a big shotgun, and not underestimate that monster. Ukama, the last other Temtem for Ice Red, as there was no Volcrane pickup. It was banned this time. So Shirokky making sure that there is no way to deal with this Zenith. Zenith is out of stamina, but it will be leaving. Will be coming back later because the Grandpa and the Ukama will just be biting a few shots here. Water Cannon connects.
Yeah, and it looks like Grandpa is just gonna be taken out there. But yeah, once that's exactly his line of thought right now, is just save the Zenith till the very end, let him recover some stamina, and then those crystal spikes will definitely carry the game, because Zuma's probably gonna be dead here. Actually no, Aquatic Whirlwind takes care of the 2-Vine here. So this one's actually a lot closer than it seems, because 2-Vine's not going to be able to get on an attack, but now, you know, Aquatic Whirlwind's probably trade out, and it might be a little bit of a 1v1, you know, Ukama versus that Zenith.
We'll see. Kazuma will be taking up the Aquatic Whirlwind. There's no way it was going to be faster than a Ukama, especially with the speed. Even Water Cannon connects on the 2-Vine, will get picked off, and as you mentioned, we go into Ukama versus Zenith and another Ukama. But if you look at HP pools, big difference there. The Zenith will have the stamina to CS spikes, but Aquatic Whirlwind is a big...
really good play. So yeah, knowing that the Water Cannon would kill the 2-Vine, save the Aquatic Whirlwind for this exact play. So trying to speed things up, but I think Aquatic Whirlwind might be enough. Let's see if the +2 special defense is gonna hold it tight.
It will pop. We'll see the damage. No! That's too high. A big beefy boy. He's a big stick of meat. Crystal spikes will do devastating amounts of damage, and that Ukama.
Oh!
But Yitian goes unconscious. But Aquatic Whirlwind, surely Shirokky is faster. It's 3 speed versus 2 speed. It is over. Ukama for Shirokky will secure that kill, but it was closer than it seemed. Because remember,
super clutch game. Insanity. Shirokky closing things out, and yeah, the Zenith Madness buff turn 1 paying so much dividends as
basically outplaying yourself, right? You cannot overthink things, otherwise you will get punished for it. Shirokky versus Ice Red again. Comma ban. First turn by Ice Red. Put the mixed Zenith opening in the table. I'm not sure Shirokky wants it, but it is quite the gambit. The gambit is something I very much enjoy, but it's a bit risky no matter what situation it is available in.
Yeah, it would be the identical start that he did last turn. I mean, he did win game 2. Different orders now. So I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, Zenith 2-Vine might be a good bet here, but it does leave him a little bit vulnerable to the pick of Volcrane. Yeah, I didn't want to leave that susceptible to the Volcrane pick, so most likely gonna have to change that up. So now this is tough. I mean, Grandpa doesn't look the worst, does a good amount to the Calibus, but now you leave the Grandpa on the board to take a bad, you know, not a bad, a really strong Crystal Spike. However, the question in this game is the Madness buff gonna be coming out for Shirokky? That's gonna be deciding so much, because you could try to play around it, you know, Madness buff and double into it. Or if he, you know, is he gonna do a different kind of strategy? We did see him. That was his first time he Madness buff, right? The other time he went with the Crystal Spike.
Right now, Ice Red doing it again. The same exact opening. Ice Red sticking to his guns, refuses to change anything. Has put Mix on the table instead of the Ukama. Less turbo choreographs means that Shirokky cannot contest that speed, but of course, Shirokky could potentially play another ball game. Mick getting banned out. I'm not sure if I agree with this. Of course, banning the Ukama was for turbo choreograph. Will ban the Mix. So just sort of reverses the ban order from the previous games. And loses that Ukama as well. Leaves the Volcrane in. Shirokky does. As Calibus is now a choice of Volcrane's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and with the Wimplump with the Tsunami Sharp Rain, not the biggest deal. At least he has the answers for it. So it's always tricky to call, you know, that switch out into it. You know, the Crystal Spike would be eaten alive by that Volcrane. But yeah, now the only source of turbo choreography is that Grandpa, and he has to do it himself. But honestly, we didn't see too many turbos from Shirokky, so I don't think that's his game plan with this team. We did see the game plan for Bennett. He does prioritize those turbo choreographies, but this is it. This is it. There's only gonna be one first place champion. Game number 3 in our finals, guys. Is it gonna be Shirokky or Bennett coming through? Only one, guys. Oh, I forgot to do the bets. Should I do the bets right now? Here we go.
Well, I mean, it's the final game. It's only fitting. Who takes the cake? Obviously, it's not fair that the drafts are already here, but still, we will see how it will go. So right now, both players still deciding on what they do. It's quite important. The first round dictates the followings. Who gains tempo? Who loses it?
Alright guys, place your bets is in the chat, but here we go. So
Oh!
doubling up on the Zenith, possibly predicting a madness buff, and he read it really well. So knowing that that was such a problem to deal with.
Triangle connects. But the question is Shirokky fast into the mix? Looking at the speed tables, this mix most likely does have speed TVs, at least something of the sort. But looking at the speed TV, Zenith is naturally slower, which means the mix may potentially just kill the Zenith here. Remember, there's no way to heal the Zenith. It is at 14% HP for the rest of this game. The Grandpa is strangled, but that leaves it in a 1v1 scenario where the mix and face each other, and mix clearly
the thing
faster.
is, what we saw last game, a madness buff Zenith will one-shot the mix. That is the thing to think about, right? However, I mean, Mix went before Madness buff, but it was a 3 prior move versus a 2 prior move, so it all depends on the speed. But Zenith is so slow, I don't think it's going to do, but okay, playing it safe for Bennett. And yeah, as we mentioned, trying to eat that crystal damage. Maybe
almost succeeds at 1.1% HP.
Oh!
For it, but it doesn't succeed. But the Zenith, that means it will survive. The Volcrane went in, but Tsunami is now available for the side of Shirokky, and a swap in potentially for a Wimplump would be very amazing here for Shirokky, because right now the Grandpa cannot stay in. If he decides to Hypnosis next turn, it has to leave. Volcrane is also not in a safe position. Calibus has to get shut down here, or there will be 2 casualties.
Yeah, I mean, he has no speed. I mean, it's just turn 3, so there was no turbos going off. He does have Hyperkinetic Strike, which would be the fastest move on the board right now. But I don't think it's worth trying to risk a Hyperkinetic Strike on the Zenith when you don't have any way of keeping it in. Because that's most likely going to be switched out. It's out of stamina. It can't Crystal Spike anymore unless it wants to kill himself, which is not the way he wants to be going out. He wants to do a couple more damage before then. But yeah, Blue, I think you're completely right. I do smell a little Tsunami coming out, and Zenith probably going to be replaced by either the Wimplump. Actually, Wimplump with the water would be pretty clutch.
Swaps in the Wimplump here. As predicted, Hypnosis is going to come out as well. Just prevent the Calibus from obliterating the Volcrane. Ember's going to trade here, but it's not going to hit the ideal target, of course. But now Tsunami is available. There's actually no way to dodge this. This Volcrane and Grandpa have to leave. But if they do leave, Gazuma and Wimplump will have to eat this, or perhaps the mix.
Yeah, unfortunately the mix won't be going in a Puppet Master Rage from one Tsunami. But yeah, Wimplump would be an ideal switch for the Grandpa. Eats that water damage really well, but Volcrane has to also leave. And Gazuma could probably be a good pick there too. It pressures back once Electric Storm is ready. So yeah, Gazuma comes out for Volcrane, and we're assuming Wimplump for Grandpa here.
It would be the best swap-ins. Calibus actually swapped out for Shirokky, predicts the double swap-in, and the 2-vine comes out, and that's perfect. Now suddenly the Gazuma in a situation where it will still be at risk. Electric Storm won't be too safe. Tsunami comes out. Grandpa will be secured and eliminated here. The 2-vine will do the damage or to kill the Gazuma in one shot. We've seen it several times. There's no way the Gazuma does not get eliminated by this 2-vine.
The only thing though, Gazuma now at +2 speed, definitely faster than the Wimplump, so one Electric Storm would be going off before Wimplump, but you know, an easy answer to that would just be retreat the Wimplump, bring out one of your other Tems, and yeah, if you Electric Storm with the Gazuma, you leave it available to receive that Crystal Plume Gatling from the 2-vine and easily gonna clean things up because he's just so strong with that Crystal Plume Gatling. But now it's tough. I really wish we could see the scoreboard right now to see the decisions here because he has a Volcrane in the back. Grandpa went out before any hyperkinetic strike was able to come off.
The Grandpa got punished so hard by the Zenith. The Zenith didn't even go down. It's still in the back pocket. It still has the potential to kill something if the Calibus sets it up for him, right? If you strangle something and the Zenith comes in at the same turn, you're in a situation where, the Calibus either gets a move and you get hit with a Crystal Spikes, or you're in a pickle and you have to somehow deal with both of those threats.
Yeah, I think it was such a fantastic read. I mean, Bennett banked on the mix. I mean, we saw the mix go down in that game too at the hands of the one Crystal Spike, so he thought mix was obviously the priority that he wanted to do, but no, decided to go for the Grandpa. And yeah, as we mentioned, Grandpa didn't even get a hyperkinetic this game. So none of that crazy damage that we're used to seeing from the Grandpa applied in this game.
Now, Shirokky in a spot where the Wimplump has to leave. There's no way the mix shuts down the 2-vine Crystal Plume Gatling, but the question is if Volcrane will swap in. And we've seen it previously. The Crystal Plume Gatling does no damage to Volcrane, so it's all about the mind games here. This mix is in the hot seat. I mean, Calibus swapped in wouldn't be too bad, but it's all about if Gazuma is gonna sacrifice his life to Electric Storm, which Ice Red might not want that. Remember, he's on the back foot, which means plays that are risky like that probably aren't crossing his mind too much.
Yeah, definitely wants to be, you know, he's down to Tem. But yeah, this one's tough. I mean, you don't want a Crystal Plume Gatling the mix because you don't have a follow-up play, but Electric Storm is going to be kept on, so maybe thinking it was going to leave. Wimplump survives at 0.5.
It breaks the Gazuma too, just freezes it in place. Go to sleep, my friend. You don't need to be here. Crystal Spikes comes out as well. Tasked to secure the kill. Ice Red understood that if Wimplump were to survive, that would be the only way. Crystal Plume Gatling will come out though, and Gazuma will not go down, but it is frozen in place, which means it will not be able to do anything and will be forced to swap out if he does not want to lose it. Zenith comes back as well, which means that Mix has to deal with it. Another CS Spikes potentially, but Gazuma is either dead or Mix is going to take a hell of a lot of damage.
And yeah, now Bennett in the situation, he can't put Volcrane in both slots, right? Gazuma will be going down or Mix will be going down. The question here though, just like we had in that first couple turns, is Mix faster than the Zenith? If you know 3 Prio Crystal Spike, 3 Prio Crystal Spike, who is faster right now? Mix probably kills, you know, at 14 HP, Mix probably kills even with that +2 special defense. But knowing that, right? You unless if you don't feel confident in the speed, you could switch in the Volcrane there. Alright, so Volcrane in for Mix, anticipating a Crystal Spike. Let's see where it went. Alright, did think that the Zenith was faster, and look at that damage, still decent damage despite -4.
Zuma will be eliminated though. Crystal Plume Gatling connects, and Gazuma will have to concede its life to keep the Mix in check. But both CS Spikers, of course, threatened by the Volcrane. I believe Volcrane does have access to Pure Swarm. I'm not sure how many people run that.
It doesn't.
It does not have access. Okay, so correction there, but regardless, 2 Crystal Tems versus a Volerand on the field is extremely dangerous. We potentially swap into Calibus and Grandpa here.
Yeah, would not be back. I think he definitely wants to protect the Zenith. I think this is his win condition with the Zenith. If it is indeed faster than the mix, that is his win con for sure. Wimplump has no speed buffs right now, and now there's no way of getting any more. So Wimplump, every Tem right now on Bennett's side will be staying at the current speed it is.
Jujutsu just securing the kill on the Zenith. We'll see if that's enough, and it will be. Not this time. Zenith is not living at 1 HP or anything absurd like that. Cold Breeze connects onto the 2 Vine as well. Thought it could potentially stay in, and it does occur. Noxious Bomb though, that's a lot of attack damage, and Whiplum takes a decent chunk.
Yeah, and it's always tough depending on if there, there's a rock shield or not. Maybe there was, and that's what I decided to do. I think Crystal Plume and Noxious Bomb do really similar damage to the Wimplump. But here we go. Calibus is here now. The mix is still in the back, still full HP. And it's kind of, the mix gets his value from that Puppet Master and just sitting back. Crystal Spike is now almost at the point where it's one of the last Tems down, so it doesn't get too much value when it's one of the last, because it might be the last one, so Puppet Master won't be active. But there's still a lot of game to be played. These guys got to make the right decisions. Calibus is out, so Wimplump does have the things like Tornado, but it won't one-shot, so a Toxic Ink into the Wimplump spot should be doing a decent amount, possibly be going out.
Ooh, Tornado, as you mentioned, does a lot of damage on the Calibus. Drops to half, but not good enough. The Volerand now in a threatened position did not swap out. Embers connects on the Grandpa. Used to be the 2 Vine. Unfortunately, predicted wrong. But actually, Toxic Ink thought the Volerand was swapping, but now Poison will secure the Wimplump kill. And Mix is now forced out of hiding. And Tsunami is guaranteed to connect on Volerand and on Mix. And I don't think either Tem will be able to double up and kill the Calibus at this point in time. And regardless, Grandpa's still here, and in the back pocket, 2 Vine is still here. So it's all about who, or rather which Tem survive. If the Volerand survives here, 2 Vine is going to have a very hard fight ahead of him.
Yeah, so Shirokky's Grandpa has no speed, so the Hyperkinetic Strike not going to be doing a lot. However, actually, I can't remember. Actually, I do remember. So he does know that the energy drink is not on that Volerand. So he could go with a safe place, Hypnosis it. And I think he is going to decide that. So yeah, Hypnosis on the Volerand. And now, slow and steady, focus on the mix. Let's see how he's going to be executing this.
Ooh, drops Tsunami actually. Decides to put the Volerand to sleep so that it will go down asleep. Quite symbolic. Volerand will go down. Did not even realize it was dead. And now Mix has to 1v3. Puppet Master was not proc, but it doesn't matter if you're the only one standing.
Yeah, that's what I was scared of, as I was mentioning. You get the value when it's on the board, but when you're one of the last or the last one, it's so tough. So Hyper connects, and yeah, everything. I mean, Crystal Spike will... Oh, doesn't want to go for Grandpa. I thought it definitely would have killed the Grandpa.
Tries to remove the Strangle user, but too little too late. Not enough damage for the side of Bennett. Bennett just taking pummel after pummel, and the Strangle just maintaining vigilance. The Calibus has done so much work here to remove.
And now with one Hyperkinetic Strike to close things out. What a set of games. Shirokky coming back with style all the way, moving himself forward as the champion of this Plus Weekly Tournament number 11. And wait a minute, why isn't it saying anyone won? What the heck?
Oh, yours is bugged. They just gave me the victories.
Oh, we don't see the victory screen. Come on, we gotta see the victory.
Okay, on my screen it did happen, so technically it kind of happened. You just didn't see it.